massive task for Roughhead on Travis Cloke. Did a good job, kept Schultz goalless last week, but Travis Cloke perhaps in another league. Jared Healy and Jason Dunstall with me as we get underway. Collingwood and the Western Bulldogs. Round 12, crunch, we're into the action. And Jolly gets the tap down. And it's lower with the first handball. Didn't do much, as you can see. And so we're going to get the umpire involved. Start to have a look at some of those matchups in the next minute or so, Jared.
Well, the really interesting one is Murphy on Harry O'Brien. You can see there, bottom of screen. If that plays itself out, it's going to be very exciting.
Side bottom, stretching Morris out. Hard lead from Lynch initially. Dwyer, who's also back in the team. He might have just fallen into the back there of Liberatore.
The other thing we're seeing, Jared, is Markovic playing as a forward, a designated forward. We've seen him at different stages start back and head forward with a bit of success. And this time he starts as a key forward. Ben Reid picks him up. So
structurally that must have been a real decision, mustn't it, from the match committee, that they just needed another tall body?
Yeah, and that hopefully will take a little bit of pressure off Liam Jones, allow him to get into the game a bit better.
Well, it was an untidy handball, that one from Liam Pickin. Put Adam Cooney under enormous pressure. And that's going to be one of the issues for the Dogs. Can they maintain uncontested possession and get the ball out of that forward half? And reverse, can Collingwood improve their forward retention?
Harry Bryant, deep in attack. I remember kicking one from there a number of years ago from the boundary, but that one not to be.
Dylan Addison playing in a forward pocket for the Bulldogs, and I suspect that's as much about the role he's going to play on Heath Shaw as anything else.
No doubt. Liberatore marks. The other one that would be of no surprise is the one we're going to see just here.
McCaver running with Griffin, who has probably been the #1 midfielder in the competition over the last month.
Yeah, 33 has been average over the last month, and fresh from a 40 touches game up there in the north.
McCaver's been very good in his run with rolls.
Yeah, played forward, didn't he, last week on Monday, which was a bit of a surprise because he has before that been, as you said, Jace, tagging the key opposition player.
I think this is going to be the game, Jared. This counter-attack from deep down back from the Dogs. Is it effective enough to get through what looks to be a pretty good press from the Pies?
Minson in well and truly in career best form. It's all hands on deck for the Dogs, although not too interested in keeping it in there, Adam Cooney.
Well, he bailed out there, as we can see here, waiting to... he touched the post with the ball. Is that a rush behind? Interesting decision, isn't it?
Well, I don't think the ball's back in play, but your scientific mind suggests that it's worth looking at.
Good pressure. This is terrific pressure from Collingwood's forwards. They've already caused 3 or 4 sloppy handballs. We saw Adam Cooney happy to allow the ball to go out so they could reset for the stoppage because the pressure's just a little bit too much at the moment. Need to handle the ball cleanly.
Big challenge for Michael Talia up on Clinton Lynch. Lynch knows he's got to get some more goals on the board.
Dane Swan did everything he could to get to the clear and it was effective. Martin and Seedsman are the ones that combined to get it in there. Gee, Lynch has been the focus so far, overwhelmed by the numbers. Cooney took it from Smith and then just pressed pause. They've been so careful, aren't they, on the way out, the Dogs. And there's the mark taken by Murphy after the pick and kick. First it goes again to Roughhead.
It's a real win, Hutto. They've forced the Dogs to go lateral 2 or 3 times already. There's just no options. This is the Pies at their best early on here.
Well, the Dogs have had 20 disposals and Collingwood have had 8, yet it's been in the Collingwood forward half.
But they haven't actually coughed it up for a goal just yet, but it will come if they don't get it out there quickly. And that was a poor kick. Out in the full, you just cannot give it back like that.
So here's Kyle Martin. 5 goals in the first 2 weeks. Goes for the height of Jolly, who's pushed forward. And, Cloke, big opportunity off the ground. Had the old Bill Laurie swing and a miss there. And they're away. Murphy to halfback. Maxwell had to try and get up over the top of Jake Stringer. Liam Jones away from Clay Smith. So still they haven't been able to get it past the middle of the Dogs. Now's their best opportunity. Boyd careful to Smith. He's got a bit of space. It's only 1-on-1 ahead. Reed's going to find it hard to close Markovic. Thought he may have interfered with a little bit of high contact. No. And that's low contact.
He's got to mark that.
Careful kick to Pendlebury into the middle. Turns onto the left and delivers. Elliott had to wait longer than he would have liked. And in that time, the Wiley Morris closed it out.
We saw Pendlebury coming in for a pretty important possession. Lowen, who's been pretty good this year in that run with rolls, has got a very big task.
So Stringer up to the wing. And there's a good grab to Jolly. Maxwell was given a second or two to gather. He goes wide for Cloak.
Gee, there's some sloppy ball use at the moment from both sides, isn't there? That's a terrible kick, that one.
Well, certainly suits the fullback, Roughhead. There's Travis Cloak, who sprayed them on Monday. 3 goals, 3 and a few extras. It didn't hit the scoreboard. Collingwood just the one behind so far. Josh Thomas has been in impressive form in the last couple of weeks, and he's only getting better.
Touched right on the line, but will it be paid?
Umpire's call is a goal. We just want to check to make sure it wasn't touched.
Well, Gerald Roughhead believes that he did touch it. The question is, was
Not
it
always,
in front of the
yeah.
line, or was it behind the line, and will it be discernible on TV?
Well, that's it. It's not always easy to see the flick of the finger.
Behind the line anyway.
Surely that's certainly not in a position to be overturned.
No.
I think there's no doubt he touches it, but there's no way known you could say that is conclusively still with a little bit of the ball above part of the line.
Is it conclusively behind the post, though? It's not just
Well, I don't think it has to be. I don't think it has to be because the goal umpire's already said he thinks it's a goal. Wants to see if it's touched before the line.
Although he's not in the really
that's a goal, surely.
A1 position to know where the line was there, but it's a goal. It's a goal, and Collingwood through Josh Thomas and have hit the scoreboard in a meaningful way.
And given that we spent so much time working out whether it was a goal or not, tends to take away from just how good the goal was.
Classy,
it was
wasn't it?
cracking finish. Have a look at him on his left foot, and beautiful tap and clearance work from the Pies. In fact, it came from Will Minson, which was unfortunate for the Dogs. They've got to work that better, but an excellent finish.
Yeah, Tom Liberatore just lost a little bit of contact at the stoppage and then got a good shepherd from Pendlebury.
Robert Murphy and Harry O'Brien lining up again on the wing. Harry's tending to keep his width, whereas Bob Murphy, he's looking as if he's almost doing a wandering role, particularly into defence.
Side bottom came hard off the line. McCaffer, and they're at half forward. Michael Talia cleared the path for Goods, but Lynch got there first. Didn't do a lot, did he, really, with the footy?
Well, the umpire put the whistle to his mouth, but then saw the ball had spilled out, so allowed it to play on.
Goods able to hit Stringer. Takes the mark. Are you of the view they've gone too far with the non-holding the ball decisions paid, Jason?
I am, Hutto. I think they've been terrific since we've been less officious about the way we're going about it.
Yep.
But I just think you've got to reward the good tackles.
In the end, Swan thought it was worth having a crack himself. Cloak had to fight the fight on his own, and he very nearly won, but again, the bodies prevailed.
The confusion, I think, lies with the prior opportunity and non-prior opportunity. If you don't have prior opportunity, you almost are able, according to the rule makers or the people interpreting it, to just let the ball go there, as we saw Quentin Lynch.
Let's see if they can get out. Johannesson decided to cut back inboard, and he ran to receive and get it again in Talia. So those two have given them a bit of rebound in the last couple of weeks. And Stringer's got Maxwell for company this afternoon. A couple of bags of 3 this year, but he's had other games, such as last week, where he's been very quiet. So just learning the ropes. High draft pick.
I guess the important thing here from the Bulldogs, Jared, is whilst it's been all the plays been down Collingwood's forward end, they haven't succumbed. They haven't just opened up to an avalanche of goals early on. Opportunity for Lower. Pendlebury had to go, and he knew it.
And now he comes away with a slick handball and sets them away. Dwight took it from Martin, and they're breaking on the wing. Not a lot ahead except side bottom, and about 4 Bulldogs. So Cloak had to wait till side bottom got in the prime position. Takes the mark. Price can crank it now. He can't go long still. Oh, it was a mid-range kick. Asked a lot of Pendlebury. If you're going to go and ask of somebody, it would be Pendlebury. You would think, oh, look at Dane Swan. Went the double snatch and almost escaped with a footy. A couple of extra come rushing off the bench here to try and help their respective teams. Reid versus 2 Dogs, it's a baller.
But again, they've soaked up the pressure okay. They got numbers back early, even when Collingwood got out on the open side. So last year, we'd probably see them 3 or 4 goals down.
Yeah, it's a good call, Jason. And let's hope from a Dogs' point of view they can continue that effort and maybe hit the scoreboard themselves. Collingwood fans obviously hoping for something different. Reid couldn't risk, there was good instructions from the Dogs, he couldn't risk the switch to the outer side because all the bases were covered. So had to keep it where there was lots of numbers around. Lynch, and that's a wild old launch. Gee, Travis Cloke's not getting much joy at the moment, is he, from the passing to him?
No, and there's also one or two extra Bulldog defenders dropping off to make sure that the roughhead's not one out with him as much as possible.
Murphy.
Once again, you see Murphy just playing in through that corridor, whereas Harry O'Brien is maintaining width out on the wing.
McRae.
Once again, a poor kick, which has given up possession. I mean, there's just no excuse for that at this level, and the coach would be frustrated. They've also got to work what they're going to do into the forward line. Last two kicks into the forward line. One was a quick kick, should have been marked by Markovic. The other one was a slow build-up, too predictable, and Collingwood got too many players back.
Side bottom, Kennedy stood his ground firmly, but the Dogs right back at you through Clay Smith. A bit of rolling action going. I reckon they might be in the back or over the shoulder.
Yeah, that was paid by the umpire that was further afield.
So they've got to push back now because Travis Cloke just won out in the square.
Swan, that's not pretty, but could still be effective. Cloke with a wrestle, no interference. Pendlebury, he got himself clear and put it through. Second goal to the Pies.
That would be disappointing from a Bulldogs perspective. I thought, first and foremost, that Jordan Roughead positioned himself well.
Yeah.
He affected the spoil. And we said before there were players that were coming back to give him a chop out. Well, this is just far too easy.
Well, Nick Lower lost him. He actually was side by side. He had to be behind him and pushing him.
Goal side of it, yeah.
Now, the other problem is, as we said in the call, just blokes had to get back and give some support. There's no point having equal numbers around the stoppage when it was clearly going to be going straight to Travis Cloke.
Interesting, Jared, the last 3 weeks, Scott Pendlebury, he's had 33 kicks and 57 handballs, so the taggers have been able to restrict his kicking, but he's still obviously really dangerous with ball in hand, isn't he?
Well, he's still very creative, and at the moment it's Griffin going to him, so you'll see his kick numbers go up. But potentially after the bounce, Nick Lowe will swap duties.
Boyd hacking it forward, leaving Shaw and Addison alone. They fight a one-on-one, and Addison's got the footy. That's the first step, but then Shaw with good, solid defensive pressure. They've squashed Boyd, but without giving away the free. Marley Williams, he's shown some dash off half-back, and he shows it again. Kick guided to the wing. Cloke being forced to really cover a lot of territory early for the Pies. We heard Nathan Buckley say it's all about defence as far as he was concerned. And
well, he'll be happy right now. They've only gone inside forward 53 times. They look incapable of scoring at the present time. They're quite competitive in probably 70% of the elements of the game at the present time, but kicking goals looks a real problem for them.
They need to improve their ball handling. It's just really poor at the moment, the Bulldogs. They had a 4-on-1 when Travis Cloke dropped that mark, but couldn't handball it cleanly, couldn't provide the shepherd, and a stoppage ensued.
Minson had Jones as his target, but 2 Pies there. See it over. What are you seeing, Kingy?
I'm just seeing that the battle of being able to play speed through the corridor or wide, which the Collingwood are doing, and they're not allowing the Bulldogs the same luxury. They're kicking it laterally, and they're just going to soak up possessions here, I think, the Magpies, and eventually wear them down.
Cooney, no free kick, no whistle. Addison just slightly misjudged it, and Shaw with that just a little nudge to go with it, takes the mark.
It's one thing to shut a player down when you're doing a defensive forwards role. You've also got to find a way to get possessions and either contribute to scores or get on the scoreboard yourself.
Yeah, they're doing it really well at the moment. They haven't had a genuine shot at goal yet, the Bulldogs.
Swan and Boyd are head-to-head. You reckon they'll rack up a few numbers? At this stage, Swan's had 5 and Boyd has had 3. Dwyer, Morris.
Did it really well, Morris. Did it really well. Could easily have given away a free kick. He restricted the ball and prevented the umpire from blowing the whistle to give a free kick away.
Lynch doing his fair share of ruck work so far.
He's had an important start to the game, Lynch. Playing up the ground, a long way from goal.
I think when you look at the modern game, lads, really the emphasis is to score on counter-attack. The Dogs are playing a really slow counter-attack game today. I wonder how that'll serve them on the scoreboard come game's end.
Griffin, Jones, Brown there with him. Murphy, they're just circling them, the Pies, at this stage.
Once again, if you're Liam Jones, you'd be disappointed with that level of service. I mean, it's coming from their best player, their best kick, and it drops 4 metres in front.
Liam Jones kicked the first goal last week, but it was a couple of weeks ago as it is now, and it was pretty quiet for him after that. Elliott. Blair. Minson. Bit of difference in body size there. So the crowd staying largely quiet thus far. Oh, the umpire had a bit of an airy there on the throw up and had to go again. Good fierce tackling on McRae. Blair. O'Brien. He's got that little goose step going. He wants it back, and that'll get the crowd starting to make a bit of noise. The Pies fans anyway. Kennedy looking for it at half forward, not finding it again because of their defensive emphasis. The forwards have found it pretty tough.
But again, just then, Hutto, the Bulldogs had a 2-on-1.
Yep.
And they turned it over. Now they've got it back because Collingwood turned it over, but they're not protecting the player at the ball, and they're not handling it cleanly.
Kennedy. Dalhouse was a terrific intercept, but he's let down by his disposal.
We talk about kicks to advantage when you're going forward. That is as disadvantageous a kick as you could possibly give to your forward.
Yeah, Addison's doing his best to keep Heath Shaw out of the play, and yet his teammate just kicked it straight down his throat.
Seedsman couldn't quite find side bottom. Points there to Clay Smith. Markovic, and they've worked their loose man clear. Smith, Dalhouse is the target. Sinclair for the Pies. It's 1-on-1. It's Dalhouse winning the footy. It's Sinclair wrapping it up. It's good stuff. And it's Shaw. Boundary line Dalhouse. And it's over.
Well, once again, Bulldogs doing pretty well, and they couldn't question their effort right now, but just their execution hasn't been absolutely fantastic. Clay Smith went in. He's not a great kick, but that time was a poor decision.
Minson was able to buoy his way onto the footy. Unfortunately, he just couldn't get enough leverage on the kick, and Heath Shaw profits.
A good breakaway here from the skipper, Nick Maxwell. He's got Herriot on the outside, and Herriot's going to get it.
Yeah, he picked the moment, didn't he? It was the right moment. That's a short kick to a 1-on-1, though. Not sure it'll please the coach. Murphy got the angles well. No free kick. Cooney leads the backup crew. Picken and Johannesson, and they're back inside defensive 50 for the moment. Lower with a careful kick.
And this is the counter-attack you're talking about, Kingy. It's going wide, it's going slow. They're maintaining possession, but unless they go hard and fast, they'll just get clogged in again.
Well, they've had more possession so far, Kingy.
And I think if you allow the Pies to set up defensively behind this, you really find it hard to get through and get an inside 50 of quality that'll allow you to score. If you come at speed, and we've seen teams do it in the past few weeks against Collingwood, you can actually score, but I'm not sure how this is going to treat them, as we said earlier.
Well, gee, it requires good skills, doesn't it?
That's how he kicks it out before.
Well, we know their kicking efficiency versus their opposition is rated 18th in the competition. The Pies are in the top 4 for that. And on averages, you'd expect that Collingwood would eventually have 40 more disposals for the game. But it's more about the effective disposals and going forward with the ball at this stage.
Reid. The build-up continues. Pendlebury resting forward at the moment. Kennedy's shown he knows where the goals are, but this time Dalhouse and Boyd, Picken, Johannesson did well, didn't rush it.
Good kick.
But now
there's got to be some movement forward of the ball. There's not enough options running to create. Here's a good switch.
Yep, and Smith has got the wing to himself on the dockside. Bit of a fumble doesn't help matters. Obviously had time to recover, but it does mean the Pies can push a number back.
Got to go here. You can't wait for Collingwood to get their blokes back. Griffin has worked incredibly hard, and that is a shocking kick for a bloke who's just busted his gut. Good follow-up, though.
Kobe Stevens, can he make up for it? Oh, no. What was he doing? It looked like he was deliberately kicking a point, didn't it?
Well,
he wasn't.
He broke through beautifully. I thuld have given the hand pass to Boyd, but when he broke the tackles, he's then running straight at goal, 20 metres out. It's just the execution that let him down.
May well have been spent by then. Thomas kicks to the wing, short. Brown has to go back. Now he goes.
Got to go behind the mark, which he didn't do. The Bulldogs really working hard, but I just wonder, Jason, whether you think they can afford to keep an Addison down there, Markovic down there, or whether they're going to have to sacrifice one of their high talented players like a Murphy inside forward 50 for when it does get there, they've got a bit more polish.
Tough for Swan. It was a high ball. Had Boyd and now Cooney to contend with. Swan working hard, got onto the footy. First step completed, delivered it to Blair, who'll go with the flow and put through the third. 3 goals to 0.
Well, that's just talking about is Adam Cooney. Looking at it, he's butchered the ball a couple of times in the back half. I put him inside forward 50 and just get into work his darndest down there.
Well, he's playing that loose role, and supposedly the player they wanted to deliver the ball when they're coming out of the defensive 50, and clearly it's not working. He hasn't handled it cleanly. He hasn't hit targets, and on that occasion, that is just determination from Dane Swan to make something out of nothing. He should have been corralled on the boundary. He went harder at it. He pushed Cooney off, and he ran around another player in Talia, swung onto the left foot, found Blair, and really created a goal that shouldn't have happened from a Western Bulldogs perspective, but great work by Dane Swan. Murphy, I've kept an eye on a few times, Jared. At different stages, he has drifted to half forward, and he's starting there now, but still gets sucked up the ground.
Pendlebury back in the heart of the ground. Blair. Pendlebury again. Into the turf. Narkovic was able to work it out. Goods, and now they're away at least. To half forward. Kick from McRae. Murphy.
I like this move. They need some talent up there.
Being hounded by Seedsman.
You know, that's Robert Murphy knows how to play this game. He's a smart footballer, and brains count for a lot of this game. He didn't just take off, even though he's one of the quickest burst players going. He knows Paul Seedsman would run him down. But he jinked one way, then went the other, gave himself. He just bought a second's time to line up an option and then delivered beautifully on the left.
So this is Addison.
And see, that's where you hurt Heath Shaw. You get a half opportunity, you've got to take it. Got to punish him on the scoreboard.
So now it's the Bulldogs' chance to press up and keep the ball in and try and get a goal on the rebound.
8 inside 50s for the Dogs for just 2 behinds. A couple of nervous moments there on the kicking, wasn't there?
I think the crowd read that too, Hutto.
For Elliott, it goes back to Shaw. Kennedy gives him something at half back. He wants a bigger body though. Lynch certainly provided that. Impressive, Michael Taylor. Only 5 games, only 1 this year. Good rangy type.
Very much in the mould of his brother, isn't he?
Just too easy.
Just looking like he might be able to win a bit more of the footy than his brother, who probably takes bigger bodies against him.
Well, once again, Swan is getting under the skin of Boyd at stoppages.
And Swan sets it up for Cloak. Tough for Roughhead. Cloak in the best position all the way. And he'll enjoy this stroll into goal. And that's the Magpies' 4th. And Cloak's first of the afternoon. Surprisingly, he's only kicked 8 goals in 8 games against the Western Bulldogs.
Well, let's go back to the stoppage, and it was just a mongrel ball. It just slipped out to Swan.
And they were just playing apart from each other, Boyd and Swan.
And then there's really no coverage. This is a killer blow. He's too big, too strong.
What worried me about Roughhead, though, when you're running back with the flight of the ball, he looked over one shoulder, then he turned, looked the other way, spinning himself round in a circle. So that gives you no base to hold any sort of position when the contact inevitably comes.
So the Dogs have got to find a way just to get a goal on the board before quarter time to keep themselves back and in competitive touch with the opposition.
Vincent shuffled his way to the right spot. Boyd. And the Pies are ready to go again, or are they? Maybe not. Kobe Stevens, the Liberatore. Boyd. Swan just waiting if it happens to come his way. Murphy and Maxwell.
Yeah, had to go with the handball along the line. It was always going to be difficult coming inside 2 players.
Probably lucky to get a stoppage there because he tried to step between the 2 of them.
Which was fairly ambitious. And Swan gives up that time because the line was too close. 7 disposals for Dane Swan in this opening term. 3.5 to go. Vincent down to Boyd, just paddle, trying to keep it with a familiar face. Morris gets some good protection off the ball. Josh Thomas came at him, hence the handball to Boyd.
Well, they've got to do something about just bombing the ball into the extra down there. Seedsman's just having a field day, and the launch is really damaging, although he's coughed that up.
Yeah, he may have. He keeps coming to try and give some ground support for Lynch. Boyd beats them all to it, but here's Martin on the fumble, and now McCaffer. They've got away to the left, all right. And side bottom's probably just outside his range. He knows it. Went to Cloak instead. Let's watch him wheel around if he can. Roughhead was persistent. Side bottom, the reset for the Pies. Can't go long, knows it. And he had to wait until the reinforcements arrived. It's a call deep from Dwyer, but oh boy, that's trying to thread the needle. And there's no way they're going to get it through.
Like the look of Martin.
Good kick. They can switch here and go. Got to move it quick.
Lower in the back pocket. Stabs the pass. Williams and Dalhouse. Fumble.
Another fumble. That's killing him.
And O'Brien, when he gets up and running, can really get up and running and get the Magpie fans excited. But he misses there.
I know they're lucky to be within 4 goals because they have fumbled repeatedly under pressure and they just continue to create opportunities for Collingwood.
Inside 50 count now, 14-9. Well, here comes another opportunity. And you said you like the look of Martin. Let's see, he's kicking to the 50. Just slightly astray on Pendlebury. Good smother, though, from Josh Thomas. Enthusiasm of the young Magpies really telling so far. Markovic, Brown had his measure for Ben Reid, who twirls around and handballs to side bottom. And that gets away.
Well, Markovic actually did what he needed to do there. He took front position, he forced the spoil, which was front and square, and there were 2 Collingwood players and no Bulldogs players getting there. Just getting outworked a little bit at the moment, the Bullies.
So a minute 20 remaining. Liberatore, fresh from 10 clearances last week, and 35 possessions against Port Adelaide a couple of weeks ago. Kennedy at the back. McRae for the Dogs. Dalhouse, Seedsman. Williams had his opportunity. Can the Dogs use this last 60 seconds to their advantage?
Again, Stringer gets the ball cleanly there and fires a hand pass to a player straight under pressure. They're getting their hands on it enough, the Bulldogs. The problem is their ability to control the footy once they get it is poor.
And when you've got a lead by 4 goals at quarter time, Nathan Buckley would be just as happy to put the rack in the cue stick, or the cue in the rack stick, and just go to the siren with this lead.
And there is Nathan Buckley.
Well, he also spoke to him prior to the match and he said defence was the #1 focus, Jerry. Yeah. So when you look at the opposition, there's 0-2. You'd be pretty happy regardless of what score you've got on the board.
Josh Thomas already one great goal to his name already. Pops the handball close to Kennedy, and that's out of bounds in the pocket.
Probably a better result for Collingwood than actually kicking it behind. Here's another chance here.
One last hurrah for the quarter for the Pies. They've already kicked 4 goals to 0. Martin, screw kick back to the square. And Cloak with 4 Bulldogs. And Good's able to send it out of the immediate danger. Pretty thorough performance by Collingwood, getting all the defensive elements right and kicking 4 goals to 0 in this opening term. Tough going for the Dogs. Brendan McCartney will be nice and fired up at quarter time. They need an immediate response. Let's see if they get it.
Get the ball, they think I've got to hit a target, etc. I mean, you've got to play instinctive footy, but I think, you know, they've got to be able to take a mark, wheel around and just expect that there's going to be a target there.
Well, they came from behind against both Port and the Saints, so that will give them some confidence. Their opponent this afternoon perhaps is of a different level and standard. It won't be easy. Josh Thomas for Collingwood to centre half forward, but Brett Goods helps himself to another mark.
Adam Cooney, his starting point again is 5 or 6 metres in front of Travis Cloak. I'm not sure that's working at the moment for the Western Bulldogs. They might as well go man on man. They're 4 goals down now. Go man on man, get some more support in your own forward line rather than having Dylan Addison playing full forward.
Gee, they continue to pick some poor options, and that's something that would definitely be concerning Brendan McCartney.
Blair, who earned the free kick the hard way there, got it into Maxwell, sets it up. Lynch was spinning, and when the music stopped, he was almost there to take the mark. Look at Kennedy, just has an ability to get the ball in really tight for a young player. He's shown some terrific traits, rounded up well by Morris initially, and it's a delicate little kick along the line from Talia, out of bounds.
certainly understand what he's trying to do with Adam Cooney, Jared, because the good teams, as we see, a quick shot for goal from Swan. That's turned into a banana and started to come back.
Was a long way away.
But the good teams have people that can use the ball, almost their best kicks at half-back. So you can understand why he's trying to get Adam Cooney to distribute the ball. But if he's not really on his game, I don't think he rates with the best kicks that are going around in the competition.
They're not getting the ball out there at the moment. It's Picken going back to Heath Shaw. He's the one playing full forward. This is just to set it up for cloak kick.
Well, but 3 other Dogs knew the mantra as well. And so at least there was some pressure. Stevens short kick. And there's some sort of
loopy
pressure.
handball.
Stevens gone. Penrelby. And just didn't quite get the connection he was after.
Nobody back.
Try and sort this out. Got the handball through. It was a fine line. And the goal umpire's not certain.
That's a goal.
I believe that's a goal. I just want to make sure that he definitely got his boot to it, please. I believe it was a goal.
Well, this is incredibly poor from the Western Bulldogs in terms of no one getting back to give a chop at it. It was 2-on-1 on the goal line after Dale Morris spoils. Look at the Collingwood numbers there, then becomes 3-on-2. He just throws it down onto his boot, Travis Cloak, and he only gets the inside of the heel on it. Well, the stud's just underneath the instep, but it's enough. Only has to touch any part of the leg or foot below the knee. That'll work.
So the goal awarded for Travis Cloak, and that's his second. He could be headed for a big bag this afternoon.
Well, goals continuing at one end and nothing likely unfolding at the other.
Jason, put yourself in the coach's box. It started exactly the same way. I mean, I don't think Brendan McCartney can sit there for the rest of this quarter and expect to get a different result.
I think their handballs is what's killed them today.
Right.
A, they haven't handled the ball cleanly and they're putting themselves under pressure. B, they're picking poor options and they're not hand passing to the advantage of a teammate, or they're hand passing to a teammate that's immediately under pressure. I mean, that was a loopy one there that floated, and they had no chance. And Collingwood's pressure has been very good, particularly in their forward 50 today.
Jolie had to contend with Minson again in the middle, got it down for Pendlebury. He was restricted. Liberatore, Pendlebury lays big wrap around him, but couldn't stop the handball. Griffin pumps, going to get a grab deep. He's on to Addison again, and Shaw actually paid the mark, I think, at the end of Shaw. Good body work from Marley Williams. His follow-up was excellent as well. Clay Smith was up to the task, though. Put some pressure on. Griffin trying to react once he won the footy. Liberatore, Griffin again, powered on through. Picken spinning, but losing his footing. Josh Thomas led them to the footy and got Shaw into some space. The kick to the wing, not perfect, but good enough for the Pies.
Well, Ryan Griffin, he must have felt one out there because he's trying to do it all himself. He's not getting much chop out from his teammates, and in the end, the numbers putting pressure on him is just too much.
Jolie holds his ground. Pendlebury found a way. Side bottom. Muscled out of it for a moment. Liberatore. Was there some minor high contact there from Josh Thomas? Not according to the umpire.
That's what I really liked about today, Jared, is their ability to close space instantly, the Pies. They're not waiting, not second-guessing, not sort of waiting to communicate to each other, just in and at the ball carrier, and it's forcing turnovers at this stage.
It's no doubt it's the best defensive effort. Nathan Buckley, I think he's had a major win, albeit against the side at the bottom end of the ladder, but it's a habit that they've got to perfect by the other end of the season.
Harry O'Brien just playing as the spare in defence at the moment for the Pies, if the Dogs do happen to get this away. Nothing clean there.
So at the present time, they've got Dale Morris, who's just sifting back in front of Travis Cloak. But the ball's just going to continually go over the top of the head of those guys. Now they've gone man-on-man and push Cooney up into the contest.
Yeah, so the Dogs have got one extra at the contest at the moment, and the Pies now with Maxwell as the spare. They keep changing that. See O'Brien in the middle of your picture, and Maxwell just to your right there, just trying to sort out as to who's going where. Craig, good instant give to Smith. He had to react, he had to work out all the decisions, and he's put it again deep for Picken. This time he's got the job on Shaw now, and Shaw went like a true defender there with a big tackle, and the danger passed.
Well, that's sort of where I'm coming from, Jason. If you've got a bloke like Cooney or Griffin resting in that full forward position, you've got a bloke who is capable of taking those marks and kicking the goals.
The chain effective, some big long handballs in that, and there's a good grab to Cloak. Just, well, certainly within his range, but he was going to pass. For a normal left footer, this is probably not a bad spot. Cloak does tend to push him the other way a little bit at times. In fact, it's a little bit of a guessing game.
I was about to say, I'm not sure he's 100% consistent with the way the ball flies, Hutto.
Let's see if he can curl it back. He started it hard
look at
right, and that does just float across beautifully for a goal. His third, and the Pies sixth.
Yes, that was a perfect position for Travis Cloak to have the footy. He moved it right to left, just started on the inside of the right-hand goal post, Hutto, and it was absolutely picture perfect. Once again, it's Swan doing what the Bulldogs are incapable of doing, and that is just laying the ball nicely for Maxwell, a good chain of handballs, and then once again it was Cloak effectively taking an uncontested mark.
Well, he could be in for a big day. Here's the chain. Have a look at the size of a couple of handballs. Pretty decent. Yeah.
Too easy from one end to the other, though.
It's great stuff if you're a Pies fan, but of course if you're back for the Bulldogs, you need that response that we were talking about at quarter time.
I think Will Minson got one right in the eye then.
Griffin just shuffling out of the middle, and Murphy got it back again from inside the 50. This would be a great way to kick the first for the Dogs. Oh, what a star he is.
Well, it's no coincidence, Jared, when you get your best players with their hands on the footy. We can see the doctor out with Will Minson. He cops one right in the eye here, and it troubles him a bit. You can just see, there it is. Just brushes across the face and takes him out of play for a bit. But the right players handling the footy. We've spoken about all the poor handballs. They're two lightning quick handballs under pressure. Griffin to Murphy, Murphy back to Griffin, and then a finish off one step.
Yeah, that was actually a brilliant piece of work from Robert Murphy there. Excellent, and then a nice finish.
Cooney's gone to the bench, and Murphy is the spare in defence now, Jared. So we'll have a look at how that plays out.
Well, it's only there for the quick kick out of the centre, and then they just push up and become a loose man behind the ball.
Lower, he knew he had to go back, and so Boyd tries again. A bit more penetration on the kick. The Pies fight amongst themselves. Seedsman with a steadier, peers into the middle, and likes what he sees at centre half back. Side bottom, and everyone's going to get involved. Reed drifting further.
Kick.
Kyle Martin had side bottom, but bypassed him.
I think when you play a spare behind the ball, though, Jason, what you're basically doing is saying that you are...
There's Cloak looking for his fourth. Elliott.
You are prepared to play a possession game because you're going to get a run on, you're going to get an overlap, and you're going to be able to take the ball from one end of the ground to the other with possession. I don't think the Bulldogs are capable of doing that against the pressure at the moment. And to me, they'd be far better off running a system of man-on-man.
Kennedy off the left. Has he got enough leverage on the kick? Oh, Cloak. He was ready in case it went past Roughhead.
Did well to attack the footy, Roughhead. Look, the concern for the Bulldogs, we know it's their ball use. Matty Boyd is one of their best possession getters, but he's kicking at 44%. And we've seen a few howlers today. If your good ball getters aren't going to use it well, you're going to be in all sorts of trouble.
Here's Dane Swan.
Geez, he swings beautifully on that left side.
Oh, he kept them guessing again, didn't he, Elliott? He could pop it over the top, but I think he can go alone, and he can too. He can kick their 7th goal.
Well, this is another stoppage work, and Dane Swan involved as well. He is having a fantastic day right now, is the Dane. And just follow him again. It was really a non-discriminate clearance work, but then that left-hand move, it just left Libba in his wake.
Too agile, wasn't he?
He was. And a nice little hole was found by Elliott. He does that so well. Just that left-hand turn. And there's Adam Cooney. That was the last 2 centre-bounce clearances ago, and he was replaced, and Robert Murphy. But it just hasn't been effective in any way, shape or form at the present time. Cloak's still getting his goals.
And I think they're going one-on-one now, Jared, by the look of it. There's no one back there at that centre bounce.
Well, the problem is if you don't go one-on-one, if you win the ball a scrubber out of the middle, you kick it back to Collingwood, who are far better and far more skilled and attuned at bringing the ball back with possession.
O'Brien laid the challenge down to Murphy. He was up to it. Sinclair and Smith with an next to go now. Dwyer had a quiet start to the game. Eventually he's forced
That should be
over the
ball.
line.
That should be ball. Oh, the umpire was about to pay it, and then he said, no, you can throw it in. That was a really good tackle. I thought the whole ball hadn't gone over. He then takes the player on. He gets swung around. You'd like to see that tackle rewarded.
Yeah.
Swan tried to get ball to boot, but he failed on a rare occasion. The going was pretty difficult in there. He's laying a tackle on now. Anderson, the hard stuff. Eventually Swan, they'll look away. Josh Thomas, he looked a bit stunned. He wasn't ready for it. Got it away though to Blair. They didn't give it up. Challenging stuff for Blair, taking on 2 or 3 dogs. Cooney. Good work, Marley Williams. And the Pies fans giving them the plaudits as Cloak takes the next one.
Oh, great shepherd on Kobe Stevens from Travis Cloak.
Lynch has gone to the ruck and Darren Jolly's gone to full forward, and this is too easy by the Bulldogs. They don't normally, by the Pies. The Bulldogs don't normally lose contested possession, but they're not doing themselves proud at the moment.
That was a great shepherd, Kingy, on Kobe Stevens, and he's in trouble.
Absolute ripper. I think there's an AC joint there that's just found its way. Both AC joints have met. Travis Cloakes has met Kobe Stevens, and I know which one come off second
Have a
best.
look at this.
That's
He's just a
fantastic
hulking
team play.
man that pounded him.
Just a little bit slow to go there, Taylor. There's a lot of chaos, plenty going on in the forward 50 as Jolly comes in. It's fairly hard to the left. Shake it ahead. Darren Jolly, who this year has kicked 3 goals, 4 now. Another view.
He didn't even try to smash him, Travis Cloak. He just had his momentum going that way, and he's so solid and so strong. It just felt like a wrecking ball that hit Kobe Stevens.
Rough head. There's the setup, high ball. Reid did what he had to do, and the ball over the line and out of bounds. So the hit-out's pretty level at this stage. Clearances, though, in Collingwood's favour, 19 to 11. And there they are, winning around the edges again. Out to O'Brien. He's flourishing now. He's enjoying his hard balls that have been won by his teammates.
Jared, they've virtually had identical possessions, and yet it's 23 to 12, the inside 50s in favour of Collingwood. And spare a thought for poor old Liam Jones. He hasn't touched it.
Yeah.
Mind you, there hasn't been a kick that's looked like getting anywhere near him.
You look at the effectiveness of their kicks, and one's well and truly over the average, and one's under. The Bulldogs are under 60%. The Pies are 73.
A rare journey forward with some space to try and enjoy. Johannesson high. It's Pickett who finds himself as the key target. Marley Williams once again did what he had to do. Got it towards the line. They have got an extra body here. McRae ready for it if Murphy could have got it to him. Pickett, as always, 110, goes hard at it. And now Dalehouse. Johannesson realised that he couldn't get back onto boot. Lower. Talia, the defender, high to the top of the square. Had to wait an age there. McRae couldn't mark.
He's
Just
back,
about
isn't
exhausted.
it?
Got a shove. Play on the call.
Have a look at the ability to defend and the pressure that Collingwood put on. A stark contrast to what's happening at the other end.
It's going to come back again, though.
And I think this is better from the Bulldogs. They are just basically taking a game on and saying, we'll take it man on man. That's still a killer kick.
Well, it is, because Jack McRae was in space and he's missed him by 10 metres, and it's hit Nick Maxwell on the logo.
And everybody who's pushed up is now out of position, and now you're going to expend all this energy chasing.
Dane Swan and Martin powered away. Martin's still with it. He tries a little manoeuvre, maybe a bit too cute. Gets it back again, and they're still going. Side by side, they are sticking together, running down the ground, the Pies. Cloak takes the mark, just outside the 50. It's not beyond the realms from there for Travis Cloak. It's going to go all the way to the line. Lynch. Oh, that's too easy. Dwyer puts it through. Another goal for Collingwood. That's 8 for the Pies. 8-4-52 to 139. 43 points the mark.
2 hands in the back from Nick Maxwell. How is that not a free kick? So, and what it in effect becomes is a 2-goal turnaround. Instead of Picken having a set shot from 10 metres out directly in front, it goes to the other end, and then there's some embarrassing defending here. I mean, to allow this ball that lands in the square not to get rushed through and to have nobody as the safeguard on the goal side of the contest, and there were 2 Collingwood players there.
Yeah, it wasn't good from the skipper there.
A lot of players looking at each other, Jared.
Yeah, he was the one that was on the outside, and it was a real problem there for the Bulldogs. They were stiff not to get that free kick, stiff not to get dropping the ball, but at the end of the day, you've got to play the whistle.
Swan and Pendlebury go to work. Thomas, and they're at half forward already. High ball inside 50 from Martin, who's having a field day. Cooney. Oh, Elliott copped a boot to the head. Play on the call. Cloak was that holding the ball. Stevens, and they do venture out again through Boyd. Scrubbing kick to the wing. Maxwell got the big fist on it.
Well, Kingy, you were pretty much the most vocal about this defensive element of the Pies game in the press today. You'd be really thrilled if you were actually looking for a reaction, because you've got one.
I think the coach would be absolutely wrapped with what he's seen. And again, Jared, it's not the media or anyone like that that needs to be setting the standards. It's their opposition. Freo and Sydney.
Yep.
Henry telling mark in defence, and away they go. Off and running Harry O'Brien with 2. Thinks about a third. And then decides to go long to the one-on-one. Side bottom. Happy to engage Talia. Had the first little minor victory there.
See, Jared, what actually happens, the flow and effect from this harassment around the coalface, is that you actually get the opportunity as a defensive unit to win the ball back. They've taken 11 intercept marks already across half-back, and that's where your real aggressive counter-attack comes from, and that's where your scores come from.
Once again, though, the ball goes deep, and it's Picken as the primary focus.
Yeah, that's wrong, isn't it?
They've got to sacrifice one of their best players, like a Murphy or a Griffin or a Cooney, to have them out of the goal square.
You wouldn't mind having Daniel Gentry-Accuser on the ground either, would you? He's obviously been terrific as the sub in the last couple of weeks, and he's not the future, I understand that, but he'd be pretty handy right now.
Well, we saw him kick an incredible goal from a similar area. This is an even tighter angle, and you suspect that if he gets it to go right to left like the last one, there's no chance of kicking this. It's going to go the other way.
Remember him against Richmond, he had a few of the Tiger fans in his face, but it's all friendly at the moment.
He did kick it and turned around and had a joke with him, which was great.
And I think Eddie had a few colourful
look
things
at
to
this.
say, but look at that. It'll just be all joy and smiles for Travis Cloak. That is 4 for Cloak. He could be headed for a very, very big afternoon.
What's 2 for 2 from you blokes?
That was an incredible kick. That was like a laser. And there'll be people saying, well, why doesn't he do that when he's got a simple kick? But there's no pressure on these kicks because you don't expect to kick them 9 times out of 10.
But he should actually get back and analyse what he's doing. And generally, it's, to me, watching him over the years, it's about how much he lays back and translates through the ball. And on that occasion, he's hit it exactly the same way as the previous one. And if you know how you're going to swing the ball and you can keep on running in the same line, well, you should be able to get a repetitive action. And there's the Coleman medal race, and he is in pursuit.
He's moving up. We'll keep an eye on that through the afternoon.
I suspect he might be on top by the end of the day, Hutto.
9 goals to 1. And the Pies margin now 49 points.
Once again, Cooney had dropped off the stoppage and was a midfield playing behind the footy effectively. Still at the back, and he drops off again.
Dalehouse showing a few teammates how to get in there and win the ball. Gets it in deep. And again, it's Addison playing as a key forward, takes the mark.
Well, he started there in the first quarter, and then they rolled Liam Picken into the role. Now Addison's back. This is what he's got to do. He's got to win some one-on-ones. He should have kicked the goal earlier in the match. He's got to kick this one.
He's kicked 6 goals, 3 for the season, Dylan Addison. Never been a big goal kicker over his career. But this one just must go through. It's that sort of afternoon for the Dogs at the moment.
And you can see why the coach is putting there. Obviously, you can take an overhead mark and kick a goal, but I reckon if you were Brett McCaffer and you were taken to the goal square 1 out, you'd be a lot more nervous than running around the middle of the ground.
Well, Liam Jones gets his first possession.
Goes hunting McRae.
It was a good kick too. Really good kick from Liam Jones.
Stringer, I should say.
He'd just like to see a little bit more of the agate. He'd like a few of his teammates to get it somewhere near him. So Jake Stringer needs to do a Travis Cloak and thread the needle.
As I mentioned earlier, 3 goals, a couple of occasions.
This is smart.
Against the Gold Coast and Geelong.
He's already cribbed a metre or two of angle, because the further you go back in your run-up, you've got to follow the fence around, which brings you further infield.
You come back in, you're in a much better position. Unfortunately, it didn't help. So the inside 50s at 26-17. Very heavily populated forward 50 for the Bulldogs at the moment. Lynch, Pendlebury pretty much resigned to the fact that he wasn't going to be able to get a clean possession out of there. 6 minutes 30 remaining. There's a view from up top. Roof closed this afternoon. Murphy with the big curler. He's sure, full-chested. Runs into the fence.
What about the Magpies, Jason? Where do you see them if they can get their full quotient of players back?
I think they're a dangerous side, and I think there would be a few teams worried if they find their best form, because there's enormous talent, and when they put pressure on like they have today, I think it takes their game to a different level.
Kennedy maybe lingered a moment too long with the ball. No real damage done though. O'Brien and Blair, nothing ahead that he liked, and as a result the Dogs were able to close it out. Boyd angled the kick to centre half forward, lower, turns quickly, heard the call in the pocket, and he was able to get it in there nicely. But Stringer just left it hanging for a long time. Jones takes the mark.
Well, I mean, the idea wasn't bad to square it up, but it was a horrendous kick that could have been spoiled.
Too much hang time for sure, but it's done the job, and Liam Jones can go back and start working on some credibility on the scoreboard.
It's a tough position at the moment to be key forward for the Dogs. We know that, but you just have to convert.
Not only has he missed, but he's missed that by a good 3 metres left of the goal post from virtually 15 or 20 metres out. Just kicked it virtually off the toe, off the instep.
It's had a very quiet month for Liam Jones, just 3 goals.
And what happens is shots like that, Hutto, deflate the whole team, because you're getting flogged, you get an opportunity, and you don't take it. And everyone just goes a little bit further into their shell, thinking, no, it's not our day, things are horrible.
Marley Williams trying to clear the press with a long kick. Lynch looking for a free, doesn't get it. Jones, good tackle from Elliott, he rolled him over. Dane Swan with 16 disposals. Boyd with 15, Murphy 14, and Kyle Martin with 13.
Is it time for some tough love for Liam Jones? A bit like the Lindsay Thomas tough love. Are you the starts kicking goals or he's in the seconds?
The only problem there is they are devoid of decent key forwards as it stands. So what he does do is he at least gives you a marking contest and a marking option.
Because I heard a lot of theories about Lindsay Thomas over about 3 years.
Now,
and I'm not sure what happened when Brad Scott mentioned that word about going back to the reserves, but it seemed to work pretty well. I know he had millions and millions of kicks at training, but one suspects he was doing that anyway.
I guess the difference between the two, aside from one being a small forward, one being a key forward, is that Lindsay Thomas is always getting a lot of the footy, whereas Liam Jones doesn't.
Here's Seedsman, and look at the way that just came back to absolute perfection. And he's a young talent. Paul Seedsman loves to get forward from the half-back line, and it's not a problem these days. You get an opportunity with the way the game's compressed.
He's going to be a good player, Jared.
Yeah, we saw him against the Eagles at Subiaco in the NAB Cup, and Kingy, you were there, and I think it was his form and that of one or two others that had you talking about the Pies in glowing terms very early in the year.
I might have been too glowing, Jared. I tipped him to win the flag after that. But you're right. It's these little components of their team that are coming together really well. He goes to halfback flank, Seedsman, allows O'Brien to go to the wing, and he's an elite talent, I think, Seedsman. He's 20 years of age. Sorry, he's 21 years of age. He's played the 20 games, and I think that he can go on and be a real star.
And the release of Harry to the wing has been one of the positional moves of the year, if not the best positional move that we've seen this year across the league.
Pendlebury in there, away again, the Pies. Bounding forward. They lead by 53 points. Nathan Brown. A plethora of options. And decided to go by hand, which is interesting, to Blair. So the setup complete. Cloak looms large. Just couldn't quite get there. He was just a step behind. Roughhead. Cooney. And through McRae's hands. And Talia, and then McRae again. Not quite out yet, though. It might be now. Murphy wins a genuine one-on-one.
I'm not going to like what he sees when he looks up. That's why he's taking his time.
He's going to take a good kick to get it to Dale Morris from there, back on to our right. So reverts to the handball, and Cooney finds Roughhead. Some hard work ahead of the ball going on. Oh, Clay Smith fell over after providing a lead. Had to get up quickly. The kick was well designed for Dalehouse.
Not a lot of hard work happening ahead of the footy for the Western Bulldogs, and that's been one of their issues.
Morris goes for Jones. Kennedy got an important touch. Side bottom with the left boot. Trust the skills on that side. His 13th disposal. Cloak's name on it, but it ends up with the Dogs. Griffin over to Murphy. Did him absolutely no favours.
He did well to get a boot on it, Murphy.
Martin kept it moving for Blair. Plenty of Pies there. They can get it into the open. There's a trip. Oh, advantage paid. Josh Thomas. Lynch changed his mind on the
dropped the mark. Oh, there's a fumble. They keep putting themselves under pressure.
To Henderson. Forced him with the back foot. Kobe Stevens.
Good kick. Good vision.
To Picken.
Well, now he had Clay Smith 10 metres clear. All he had to do was kick it quickly up the line. And they have another possession 30 metres further afield, but now they have to kick to a contest.
Oh, Heath Shaw flung himself over the pack. There was more Dogs once it hit the ground. Goods had to see off Sinclair, was able to do that. Dalehouse, Addison had stolen a march deep, but he decided to go short and up the ground instead. And once again, Jake Stringer has got in there to take the mark.
Well, it was a good move, though, by the Bulldogs. Good to see Dalehouse up the ground, getting hold of the ball and charging forward. He's had his ups and downs this year. He's had full support from the coach, but that was a double possession from Dalehouse, and that's exactly what the Bulldogs need. More carriers and more blokes hitting targets.
7 marks today, Jason, for Stringer. Needs to convert, though, with a minute 15 on the clock.
That's what he can do.
Yeah, great strike. Second goal for the Dogs. Sorry, Jared. 2-5-17 now. And Collingwood 10-4-64.
Well, that was their best possession, best passage of play from today. From deep in defence where they picked up, I think it was Picken on the outside. And then they got it from this clearance. It was Dalehouse who just followed up. That's just hard running. That's exactly what they've got to build their competitiveness in the second half around. Hit it to Stringer. Lost his mouth guard. As you see, it just bobble out, but he can kick the footy, this kid. He's a good target. He's an unusual type for a full forward, but he can play that role.
Well, Jake Stringer, you said 7 marks, Hutto, from 8 possessions. That gives you an indication of he finds the right places and he reads where the play is going to be if you're taking a high percentage of marks in your possessions.
So there are some really good signs for the future for the Dogs, but the present is a bit more bleak today. Dwyer and Pendlebury waxing. Pendlebury didn't like what he saw. In the end, he just hacked it high and tried to give Cloak a chance to run. He didn't want to get in the way of Kennedy, though. Kennedy takes the mark in front of him.
Well, we've spoken about Adam Cooney playing that role in defence, and it's not working on any level, Jared. He's getting plenty of the ball. In fact, he's had as many possessions as anyone on the ground in 16. But he's not using them. He's not setting up rebound that's turning into attack. And he's been beaten on a key occasion here, along with a couple of others.
Yeah, I think you'd rather Adam Cooney have half as many possessions in the forward half and racking him up behind the ball.
So Kennedy Kicked a goal a match so far, and that's one through as well. The young South Australian puts Collingwood back out to a 53-point lead.
It was an interesting build-up, this one. Scott Pendlebury had the ball. I thought he was going to release it by foot and just kick it from the centre clearance straight down to Cloak, but he elected to go wide with a handball. And let's take a look at what transpires here. Here comes Pendlebury, gets it back again, and Cooney has got responsibility. He's ball watching, but his direct opponent watched it better and was a bit hungrier on that occasion.
It's one of those where you think there's a pack and there's going to be people coming over the top, but when your man goes, or the man you're responsible for goes, you've got to go with him. Adam Cooney didn't do it, or didn't get there on that occasion.
Obviously, Ben Kennedy, Hutto must have been a Peter Dacos fan, because he hangs the tongue out kicking for goal exactly like the Macedonian marvel.
A bloke called Jordan used to do that as well, didn't he?
I'm not sure it's something you can do deliberately, though, Jared.
It's funny what young kids what they copy.
Imitate?
That's the one I'm after.
11-4-70 to 2-15-17. There'll be plenty of young, happy Collingwood fans this afternoon. Not so, though, if you're a young doggy, because your side is struggling at halftime and needs to do a lot better. Let's get down to David King with a word, I think, from the skip team. Ben Reid coming out of defence. Markovic into the side as a forward today. Hasn't kicked a goal, just had a couple of disposals. Travis Cloak, he's been the goalmeister today with 4. And we're ready to go in this third term now. Minson against Jolly. And it's as you were. Pendlebury with the clearance. And Harry O'Brien with the knees up, charging after it on the wing. Being reined in by Cooney, but he just brushes him aside. And Harry is off and going sideways. Dane Swan didn't do a lot of favours from Brent McCaffer there. Stole the ball out of his mitts. And just on the 50, we've got an all-in scrap. And it is a scrap too. Quinton Loontz is under there somewhere, Jared, and he's been pinged.
Well, Big Will comes up with it because the Q-stick must have just dragged it in. But pretty much the same setup, same structure for the Western Bulldogs. A couple of positional changes, but structure-wise they have started off with the extra man in defence, and this time it's Goods.
I thought that was a hard volley, and he's paid the mark.
There's been a substitution made at half-time. G and Syracuse are on and Picken off.
Well, Gian Syracuse is a noted goal kicker. He'll need to get his skates on and get into action very, very quickly. A very clumsy effort there from Marley Williams on Liam Jones.
Looks like Adam Cooney started on the wing. He is going head-to-head against Harry O'Brien.
A good move, though, by Brendan McCartney.
Well, he gets the opportunity to push forward like this, Jared.
Then he makes Harry more accountable.
Still not delivering the ball well, though.
He's not having a great day right now. Defensively, he's not working as hard as perhaps he could. And he's just floating at the moment.
Yeah, everyone getting in on the act.
And look how easy it is. And at the other end, the pressure's enormous.
Problem was they had so many deep, they had nobody up the ground to go to, so they had to handball, and the Dogs were able to put some serious pressure on, and now it's going to be a bounce.
I think they were guilty of overuse of the footy. Then Collingwood, they had oodles of time, plenty of space, but no one wanted to make a decision. They just kept saying, well, give to the next bloke in line.
Jolly arrives at the right moment. McCaffer. Dane Swan didn't try and take possession.
So forward of the ball, Collingwood have got Cloak on one side. They've got Quentin Lynch, who's going to be deeper, and Jamie Elliott is the one who's going to be the charge through the middle and should end up with it.
Right now.
It was good work by Jamie Elliott. He kept his corridor position. Cloak led wide. Cloak dragged Elliott's man Morris to a large degree, and then he just charged to the middle of the ground. Smart player, this kid, Jason.
He is. He's a very smart player. But I'll tell you what, I'm worried at times just watching Jordan Roughhead on Travis Cloak. He gets lost easily. He gets caught watching the footy, and all of a sudden he's 5 metres away from his opponent.
So Elliott already with 1 goal. Has kicked at least 1 in 8 of 11 games this year. This for the double, and that looks pretty sound. No, it's just sneaking away from behind.
Yeah, looking at the side that was selected, it just always looked a lot weaker because Tom Williams wasn't playing. I know he hasn't been there a lot in recent times, but he just adds a significantly experienced and talented key post that Brendan McCartney can build his side around.
Oh, he played on then, Adam Cooney. He was off and running, didn't like what he saw, so he's going to come back. But there's just no options working hard, so he bombs it long to a pack.
Minson behind Jolly. Sinclair, Blair, and the share, and they're just moving the ball so rapidly that the Dogs are second-guessing. Dwyer back to Maxwell. Well, it was good pressure because there wasn't much on for him, and it was a bit of a 50-50 ball in the middle. There's the sub. Jan Siracusa, 2 involvements. Suddenly the kick is deep. Is it accurate? Not quite accurate enough. And Nathan Brown leads his opponent and beat Addison to the footy. And then Jones pursued well. Didn't stop the ball in motion, though. Not rushing at all, the Pies. Brown kicked it to the wing. Cloak. He's covered some miles today. No, they love Travis Cloak.
They're looking at the boots.
I think it began with B.
He's got the green ones on. Fluoro. You think they're looking a little bit higher than the boots?
Might have been. Wasn't his calves.
The powerful glutes.
Margin 54.
Working hard still is Ryan Griffin, trying to lead from the front.
Circling the footy.
And it gets to a level for clubs in this position where they're just desperately trying to get some positives out of it. The same for players. You can actually just go down in the mine, or you can actually just work your way into some form or continue your good form, and only ever happens on the basis or on the back of incredible work rate, Jason.
Yeah, and unfortunately not enough, or too few of his teammates have adopted the same sort of attitude.
Disbelief there from Brent McCaffrey that he'd been pinged. Griffin called on by the umpire. A little bit of this, a little bit of that, and got himself into the clear. Murphy spotted Morris, and Morris decided to keep it going. Johannesson back to Dalehouse. Now Talia. Still, they're very wide and on the brink, but couldn't quite get it inside.
That'll be 50.
Clay Smith, heavy-handed on shore.
But the use of the footy again was poor. I mean, I reckon Nick Lyle could have pushed inside 50 and got the chip kick for a shot.
Yeah.
But he stayed laterally and then had to chip it into the leading player. And he's going for Clay Smith, who's not a recognised target, and he's kicking in traffic.
Almost got themselves into trouble, but they're out now. Martin with a delicate little kick, tough for Elliott. Goes hard again, Kennedy, but Morris able to shuffle it around. Talia, watch out. Pendlebury was closing quickly, and he knew it. Lower to the wing. Thomas just come off the bench. He'd be able to help out Heath Shaw.
They had a 2-on-1. Yeah, and it got evened up because Collingwood brought a player off the bench, but he kicked it over the top to the 2 Collingwood players.
Swan to Pendlebury.
It must be frustrating as a coach, Jared. You can have the best laid plans of men, but they don't count for squat when you butcher the footy, do they?
No, and there's a fair bit of that going on at the present time.
Cloak, he hit a crunch as it went into the bread basket there, and Travis lets fly to the square. It's deep. It might. Oh, Lynch almost was able to reel it in, but not quite. Murphy, Griffin, in the deepest, darkest area of defence, finds Goods, and now they're
out. They're out. Must score from here.
Markovic, they've got 2 surplus numbers across half forward. It's a matter of sorting it out. Kobe Stevens has Liam Jones in his pocket. He's inside 50. He's still got an extra over the top.
One way or another, they were always going to score. They had the numbers. It was, could they find a way to bring it back into the corridor to make a certainty of it? The answer was no. They just weren't smart enough with their running patterns going forward to get a better quality shot for goal. So it's going to be a tough one for Liam Jones, but one he needs to convert. Difficult, given he missed an absolute sitter at the other end in the second quarter.
That's what he's looking at. And unfortunately, it's dropped short. They're almost the mark to Addison. And Minson there on the spot.
He should have marked it, Will. Then he got 2 hands to it. Disappointed with himself.
Seedsman. Just over Blair's head, and Big Markovic comes in. Murphy. Solid contact. Smith had another crack at it. lower off the left. He was well positioned to kick the goal, but just didn't quite get enough on it.
Plenty of play down this end of the ground, Jared, but their skill execution today has been as poor as I've seen them this year, the Bulldogs.
Yeah, their method inside the forward 50 has been questionable all year. This is much better. I mean, they just found some openings and hit up a leading player.
Unusual ball use for the Pies, though, wasn't it?
Well, it is, but what the Bulldogs have at least done in the opening part of this third quarter is find a way to keep the ball down this end for periods of time, so they're having repeat inside 50s.
Clay Smith, just 20 years of age, had 21 disposals last time the Dogs ran around against Port Adelaide. He's kicked 7-5 for the year. But
oh, my goodness. And then an uncontested mark.
Marty Williams. Not much you can say about that, unfortunately.
Now, there's a flaw in the setup of the Western Bulldogs. They've recruited too many blokes that have flaws in their kicking.
But how do you coach for that? That's impossible.
Well, you coach for it by telling your recruiting guys we can't afford to take any more blokes who can't hit people on the chest.
Well, there was good pressure. They started to circle around Dane Swan. He had 3 possessions, couldn't get them into the clear, and as a result, Liberatore makes them pay by making that one count. And the Dogs have got their third on the board.
Well, for mine, Jared, they've come out a little bit cocky, the Pies. I think they've overused the footy coming out of their defensive 50 a couple of times.
Yep.
They think the game's well in our keeping, and I reckon he'd be aware of that attitude too.
I think he might be agreeing with your sentiments, and no doubt will share them with the team at three-quarter time.
Just a bit fancy.
The other problem was Heath Shaw has spent the last 3 minutes on the bench, and he's the architect off half-back. He's taken 7 intercept marks alone individually himself today, so he's the one who does get them going from that deep defensive 50 position, so they have missed him that last couple of minutes.
When you go back to selection, Jason, I guess that's when you can also address your kicking prowess. You've got Mitch Wallace, who's in and out of the side of the present time. He would be a better kick than Clay Smith, but he can't force his way back in.
Sinclair wasn't perfect to Cloak. And Wise kick smothered. He's forced to go in after it again. Trying to retrieve the situation. Dane Swan, a helping hand.
Great kick.
Helping foot as it turned out onto the chest of Travis Cloak.
It's a valid point, Jared. Our game has progressed to the stage now where you can be a better player but miss out on the game because you're a poorer kick than the guy that's just a touch behind you as a player but is a much better kick.
Well, I think Mitch is probably missing out because of a pace issue. He's a bit of a one-pacer. Clay Smith has got a lot more speed, and maybe they've looked at the balance of their side and said, no, we need some more pace. But pace is fine if you win it. If you can't kick it and keep it, you are going to struggle to have a long career in this game.
We've seen a number of shots for goal today, Hutto, that have been from inside 50 that have failed to even make the distance.
And that's unusual here, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. The ball normally carries a generous distance.
It is very cold out there today. Not sure whether that would have any impact at all. But here's O'Brien on the march again. Always looks dangerous.
Horrendous kick.
Griffin.
Horrendous handball.
The scramble's on. Williams and Talia. Josh Thomas, he is a real comer, isn't he? He's been there 4 years at Collingwood. His first season he's played in the seniors. But he looks accomplished.
That was a strange kick from Adam Kearney.
Maxwell, and there's
The whole game's a bit strange at the present time. Stay with us, folks. Anything may happen.
It's a bit like that, isn't it?
It's a good way of promoting the game, Jared. You just never know. Here's Cloak. Jolly, not quite. Griffin.
Right, got the extra here. Just got to use it cleverly.
And we're talking to Mark Bosnich at three-quarter time as well, so you never know what's going to happen there.
Well, once
Liam
again, we see some butchery coming off the half-back line.
That's a criminal kick. He didn't need to punch the ball so hard.
Now, that was a beautiful kick for Swan. He just couldn't quite cling on.
I reckon it hit him in the mush.
It did.
Bounced off the beard. McRae.
Good tackle.
Oh, Elliott. He is full on. Cooney. So they know it's play on, so no real attempt to mark it as such. Kobe Stevens gets the round to the kitchen. And it's a ball up.
Keep your eye on the footy. Right on the side of the face.
Might get a run later tonight, Jason.
Always a chance. We love a Falcon.
Williams Again with the curling kick. Elliott's dangerous if it hits the ground. Just got away from everyone that time.
Couple of interchanges there. Kingy, keep your eye on it. 2 on for 2 off, hopefully, but there was a third lined up. And the third stayed off the ground, fortunately for the Pies.
Jolly slaps it back into the danger area. Kennedy, Quentin Lynch squeezing out the kick.
Well, they've turned this quarter into a scrap, Jared, and they're winning at the moment, Bulldogs, but it's 1 goal 2 to 2 behinds in a half a quarter.
Well, that's, I reckon, what they needed to do right from the word go, but I think the scrap has come because Collingwood's energy has just dropped off 10%. And it's amazing the difference between the 10% that gets you to do the Matic elements as against what we're seeing at the present time. And these are the players that can come into both sides. And it's the Bulldogs on the left. And a number of those players won't be back at all for this season, namely Higgins and Williams.
Here's Josh Thomas again. Cloak protected the area of where the ball was going to drop. Dwyer got slung. Play on the call. Talia along that last line for the Dogs.
Oh, no. Well, again, they've been poor with their shepherds. And this one's gone against Dale Morris, saying that he tried to shepherd Elliott and pulled him to the ground. Curious to have a look at the replay of this because he's...
was fantastic umpiring, Jace.
He's pretty adamant that Elliott just slipped over.
So here he is with a kick at goal. Can be pretty careful about it. He's put it through. And they're back over 50 points, the Pies, as Elliott salutes for the second time this afternoon. 4 goals to Cloak, 2 to Elliott are the multiples for the Magpies, and they're all singles for the Dogs. There's only 3 of them.
We want to take a close look at this, Jared, because they had the ball in their keeping. There's a hand pass. Oh, wow. I didn't see much going on there.
Let's have another look. He did take him out of the game, but...
well, he's trying to shepherd, but he didn't grab him.
No,
they got tangled up together.
Let's check out the live ladder then. Collingwood, if they go on and win this evening, will end up with 8 wins, 32 points, and be in 6th position. That percentage started the day at 105. I'd love to build that up a bit more.
Yeah, well, it is turning into a good percentage booster today, but it was interesting talking to Rodney prior to the match. I just said if you win, you go to the bye at 8 and 4. And he said, yeah, you know, probably pre-season would have been thinking 9-3, you want to be up amongst the top 4. But for a team that we've said all throughout the year hasn't found their best form, hasn't been playing particularly well, 8-4 is not a bad result.
With some more good game, more
and
very
players
winnable,
winnable, good draw
games to come in the next 4 or 5 weeks. Kobe Stevens then with a big launch. And that's got through as well. So it has been a much better third quarter for the Dogs.
It's raining goals at this stage in the third quarter. But I think as much as Fremantle have basically taken away the alibi of injuries, it is still relevant. And the Pies have got some serious players out of what's going to be their starting lineup you would expect in the next 4 or 5 weeks, which makes for competitiveness both for Fremantle and for the Collingwood Football Club when it really matters.
Imagine if they could just get Beams, Ball and Thomas into this lineup. The extra run, the extra midfield depth that would give you would be enormous, isn't it?
No doubt. I think Goldsack also just a huge omission.
Very flexible player.
Play that lead-up player up front and also probably look to replace Tuvey in defence at times. Swan
sets them all a bit of a chase. Goods was leading the race.
He read it well, Brett Goods.
And the man who kicked it in the first place, Dane Swan, was the one that escorted him over the line and out of bounds. 47 points the margin. Jolly and Minson ready to go again. Griffin and Martin wrestling, and it got through to Liberatore. He changed his mind and was able to keep the ball with handball charging forward. Smith to Griffin, and they're in again. Shaw had to go hard back, and boy, great act of valour and skill.
His intercept marking today has been absolutely world-class. So was Griffin's performance back there from the stoppage. That's how to get away from a tagger. He He worked at absolute top end, but that was the best mark of the year, of the week so far.
Well, David King called it. I mean, they had a really good run, the Bulldogs, early this term. He said, well, the reason they're going so well is because Heashaw's off having a spell. He comes back on, he does things like that.
He's had 8 intercept marks today, and the Dogs have had 8 intercept marks.
Well, that's a season high, Jared.
Yeah, that's worth having another
other
look at,
individual
King.
has had 8 for the year. So just shows you what forward some pressure up the field can do for defenders.
Now Dane Swan, he's going hard, charging through the middle. It'll take a 50-metre kick, and it wasn't his best.
In fact, it was in the end a reasonable result because he was probably never going to make the distance. There was a spare for the Bulldogs sitting in the goal square, and they'll be still in the contest here.
He took a risk, Adam Kearney, because he sat off Dane Swan, and he actually kicked it from inside the 50-metre arc.
And the free kick paid, no advantage that time, but it is going to be a Collingwood free against Big Will, and it's going to Big Darren.
Well, the free kick that we saw Elliott kick a goal from a moment ago on this one here have been incredibly costly for the Western Bulldogs because they've had their share of play in this third term. Hasn't been pretty. It's been a genuine scrap, but they haven't been dominated in the third quarter.
So Jolly comes in, and that looked pretty elementary. It's right through the middle. Get back down to you, David.
Well, I think we've talked a little bit about Heashaw in moments just past, but he's their most important player for mine. I think the midfield they stack up pretty well against most teams, and sure they've got some stars in there, but Heashaw for me, he is their back line. 8 intercept marks for the day. He gets where the action is. He's been tagged about 10 times this year out of 11 rounds, so it's been an unbelievable season. He's had some injury issues, some skin fold issues, all sorts of problems going on, but when he plays at his best, he makes this team complete, and I think that he's their most important player.
Yeah, it's a good call, Kingy. So, Jared, if his skin folds go up 1 or 2 to the threshold that they're declaring, he's playing like this, do you drop him again?
I think the first half of this season was all about setting standards for Nathan Buckley, and that's what he's done. But if it gets close to the season, I suspect he may get a little bit more variance.
I'll just ask for a remeasurement of those skinnies. Just say, keep measuring it, go again.
Bit of pain for the Dogs. They might get some more now on the scoreboard as Collingwood come away through Pendlebury a couple of times. Some help from Dwyer. Went short for Quentin Lynch. Dane Swan's down at full forward at the moment and calling for the ball.
Which you'd need a 90-metre kick.
Well, he's going to give it a crack. He's not going to quite reach Swan.
You need another kick the same to get it to where Swan is.
Goods trying to steal the march. There's Jim Henderson in there as well. And Jared Blair not letting him out of his sights.
It was really interesting watching Quentin Lynch kick that ball as we take another look at the big collision.
Just got crunched by Nathan Brown.
Quentin Lynch has had a lot of troubles when he's had to line up in front of goal this year. And yet I just saw him hit the ball 65, 70 metres as flush as you can kick it.
Kennedy just perhaps a little bit lax there, just turned on to the left, fairly laconically, and across the face it went.
Here we go, here's Quentin Lynch. Look from there, bang. He has centred that ball and absolutely smashed it. Didn't go back, didn't mark out a run-up, didn't take a glove on or put one or take it off. He just did it naturally. And I think that's how he's got to somehow bring that approach to his goal kicking.
Yeah, but field kicking and goal kicking are poles apart, Jared, because one's instinctive and one you have to think about.
Again, real hard work displayed by Dane Swan, much appreciated by the Collingwood fans.
And some players are unable to overcome that psychological hurdle, aren't they?
Well, it looks like Quentin is just building himself a problem at the present time. And gee, I've seen him over the years just be in really good form. And at the moment, he's not in great form in front of the sticks. And yet, field kicking, he's just still banging it down the middle.
He got through a couple of times, the Dogs, in this corner. Stevens has kicked.
Well, he's never going to win a leg race. I mean, Daniel Giannis Syracuse is shaking their head going, why on earth would you kick it out to space where Heashaw's going to run past me?
He is playing a cracking game, Heathshaw. That's 9 intercept marks. That's it, right, play on! And the build-up a little labour-intensive and a fumble.
Fumble again.
From Brown. And
opportunity lost.
In return from McRae. Williams tried to sneak out the back way. Ball could go anywhere, and it goes to Griffin, to Murphy. It's locked and loaded.
Oh, even Murph's kicking double punts.
And Shaw's going to get another one, is he? No.
Adam Oxley, the sub, so he's going to come into action for Collingwood. So David King will keep a close eye on who the man subbed out is.
Pendlebury takes the mark. Whoever it is probably wouldn't be all that happy. You want to stay out there and get amongst this. But the Dogs have been a bit more resilient in this quarter. Blair up to centre half forward, that clears Elliott's head. And they're coming away again. And once again Murphy. Good bit of overlap. Johannesson. And there's young Jake Stringer.
It is Ben Reid, the player who's been subbed out. He's been taken down into the room, just trying to find out what the issue is. But a fair bit of concern down here for the centre half back of the Pies.
Well, he's had a couple of injury scares so far this year. Let's hope this is exactly that, just a scare. But right now, we are looking at potentially a world record being broken, Jason.
What's that?
Well, Heashaw's had nine intercept marks.
Yep.
The world record is 10. It belongs to Jade Rawlings, who did in 2002 in a match Hawthorn versus North Melbourne.
Well, he'll do that on his ear.
You would expect so.
We've got a whole quarter and a bit to go.
Stringer misses.
And also the Bulldogs pension for kicking it to him.
Just on Ben Reid, he's played every game this year.
Super important for them, Hutto.
Never been able to do that before. 2011, he just missed the one game. Remember, he got injured late in the year, came back into the team, and did play in all the finals bar one. But definitely wasn't at 100%. Now Elliott scrapping hard. Pendlebury, half forward, worked with him and worked with him well. Very short to Cloak. Hasn't been able to build on his tally this term. Scrapping kick, side bottom. So not pure by the Pies, but the result, oh no, it won't be. Great harassment.
Great tackle by Ryan Griffin again. He's shown great desperation. A tough afternoon, but he hasn't lowered his work rate.
That was superb by Ryan Griffin. And good to see the umpires paying that particular free kick, because it hasn't been paid, that sort of free kick, too often in recent times.
John Syracusa starting as a sub for the third consecutive week. Did it in their last two victories to great effect. The task much tougher tonight. Ooh.
Dangerous kick.
And then it opened the door. But Griffin to Murphy.
There's some good transition, this chain.
They've won this quarter, Jason, 16 to 14 points.
Well, as Jared said, it's the scrap they needed from the first bounce, not from the bounce to start the third quarter.
Elliott, and here's Shaw again, just trying to thrust the handball. He got it through to Blair, and then Seedsman, and out wide with O'Brien. Clock counts down to 16 seconds. Bit of a fumble from Dwyer, looking for reinforcements. Dane Swan charges through. Time is only enemy here. He winds up. Pop the handball over the top. And there once again, they just haven't been able to finish off their work in this quarter. The Pies, and part of that has been due to a much better effort for the Western Bulldogs, who claimed the quarter. We're going to take a break. It's the Pies by 51 points. Mark Bosnich is going to be our special guest next. He's going to be with Jason tonight. Look forward to that.
Well, I reckon it's also an important quarter for the Bulldogs. They've got to salvage something out of today's performance, and to date, I don't think they walk away with anything, Jared.
No, I'm with you, Jason. I've been very disappointed in just their method, their effort in some respects, and I think they just need to continue what they did in that third term, just scrap it out.
I was going to say, do you give them credit for that third quarter?
Well, third quarter, yes, but they need to back it up here, because if they drop off a couple of percent, it'll be a massive blowout.
Stands at 51 at the moment. Ben Hart, Matty Lappin in there. Some of the assistants of Nathan Buckley. Big development program. Collingwood probably leading the way in that area, and they continue to use all their resources, and we've seen the results of that this year. I mean, the young players come in and they're just about ready to go straight away. Boyd bangs it up to the top of the square. That was impressive from Marley Williams. It did just allow Liam Jones to think he was in with a chance there.
One bloke who hasn't let himself down is Ryan Griffin. His effort there again at that stoppage, it was just all class, but 100% effort, and he got it away and got the handball away.
Now Maxwell, just a slight break. Drives, he's asking Elliott. Oh, I thought he was going to run and jump over the top. He just barged his way onto it in the end, didn't take the mark. Lower, Talia, ranging out and handballing it to Boyd. He knew he could get past the first and then kick to the wing. Maxwell, again, doing all that was required and then realising there was more to do. Murphy impressively comes through and
good option.
Quick reconnaissance into the middle, and he liked what he saw. Johannesson kicks it in the middle of nowhere, really.
That's a double error, because it's not just the execution, it's the decision to go there.
And also the fact that there was just not enough ballistic movement up the ground for him to actually say, OK, no, I can't go there because there's this bloke over here who's led and dragged somebody out of my space, etc. They're just not working hard enough for each other. This is a down step in what Bulldogs have seen as a couple of upward steps in the last month.
Oh, Boyd rushed that kick, and O'Brien didn't mark it. Again, the feet are moving to try and get himself just enough room to execute. There's Oxley, scrapping kick out of defence. Griffin comes hard. He got away from McCaffar. Had a glance, didn't like what he saw. So back to Boyd, and again, the decision was good from Oxley. Got a last-minute reprieve with Luke Ball being ruled out with injury.
Just an update down here from boundary side, Hutto. Ben Reid substituted out of the game with what looked like a high cork around that high hamstring, that left hamstring, or the lower buttock area. So he probably could have come back on if required in this game, but obviously no risk taken.
They've got a week off, which obviously will help the healing process for Ben Reid. And there's a great run down from Heath Shaw. Not just the marking, it's the pressure as well. Liberatore trying to set something up. And Goods angled the kick, and eventually Jan Syracuse worked out where it was going to land, and he takes the mark.
It's one of those kicks that makes the forward go to where the footy's going, because he knew where the space was, and the pretty congested 50 was a really good kick from Redwoods. Now, Gia has been very efficient in front of goal this year. He's made the most of his opportunities when he's had them, and you've got to do that when you get to the twilight and you start playing as the sub. You've got to hit the scoreboard.
So the eyes are on him now. Gian Syracuse just inside the 50, and that looks clean and straight through, and it trims the margin to 44 points.
Well, they are just looking at this quarter, and they won last quarter. They'll be looking at another mini victory here. The big victory is well and truly gone. But once again, this is exactly what you said, Jason. The kicker was actually determined by where the space was, and Gian Syracuse found that space. Very smart piece of play.
It had to be a good kick because there were four Collingwood players ringing the area that he kicked it to.
That's forward play in this era with sides who are flooding back, etc. You do have to find space if you're going to square the ball in that position. Otherwise, it's just long to the top and flood the drop of the ball.
Minson towering over the top to get that tap down, and they're breaking through. Griffin, impressive play. Deep, Maxwell. Now Heath Shaw can sense another little adventure coming up. Wasn't clean, so decided to thump it. Now the run is provided by Dwyer, and they're into the space. Thomas first, and Dane Swan up a notch. They've got to the wing, swinging through the middle with Dwyer. Cloak leads hard to the outer side. Not the perfect setup for him. Allowed Ruffhead to run and spoil down to Smith. So the Dogs definitely more resilient since halftime. Cloak almost a throw out to side bottom from the stand start. He goes back to Cloak.
Now, surely he can't kick a third one from this tight angle, Jared.
You keep on robbing him of any chance, and he will just keep sticking him straight through.
He's kicked two amazing set shots from this very pocket today.
He's found his favourite spot, Jason.
Surely the well's dry.
When we do the heat map in future, it's just going to be all around here. He's kicked two beauties.
Oh, not again.
And it's going to challenge, but just stays on the wrong side.
It would have been amazing to kick three from the most acute of angles.
Sam Dwyer will just have to go through his thought process on that kick that was intercepted. He's going to be right on the cusp of selection or not selection, and it's those sorts of things that need to be addressed.
Goods. He's had another 16 disposals this afternoon. That one wasn't his best. Gee, Josh Thomas continues to impress. Spoiled that time. He's had 18 disposals this afternoon. Kicked a goal, had 8 clearances. Fresh on the back of a couple of mid-20s performances in the last 2 weeks. Griffin, Talia, Stringer, Markovic, McRae.
That'll work.
Yeah, well, John Syracusa. So Clay Smith.
Now, if he waits the kick.
And O'Brien knew it was coming. Did he push? Play on the call. Sinclair.
Just too slow, John Syracusa with the kick. Sat it on Clay Smith's head.
The other one who probably just needs to have a look at where he's positioning himself is Brent McCaffrey. He's had some good scalps in recent times, but he's been taken to the cleaners at various stages today by Ryan Griffin.
He certainly has.
I mean, he's got some big challenges coming up. If the Pies are to play finals, he's going to be playing on some serious midfield heavy hitters, and he's got to work on his starting position and his ball watching as against man watching.
Well, again, the Dogs able to repel.
The sting's gone out of things, hasn't it? I reckon Nathan Buckley would be upset that they haven't been ruthless today. They haven't really put the foot to the throat. Once they had them, they virtually eased off, and it's...
That happened against Brisbane too, didn't it, a couple of weeks ago?
It's become a very pedestrian second half.
So Talia bangs away. Maxwell possibly could have marked, but taking no chances. And it's over and out.
Even just there, Hutto, we had Markovic versus Blair charging back to the goal square with a blood rule, as you can see with Nick Maxwell there, blood streaming down the face, Braveheart style. But Markovic has to, if he leads and presents there, he's got at least 8 to 10 inches in height on Blair, and probably should be the primary target in that instance, but just didn't work hard enough to present.
Yeah. There's been a few kicks going forward where, for whatever reason, they haven't been able to even offer a contest in their forward 50, the Bulldogs.
Still, they have reduced the Pies' effectiveness since half-time, even though the margin still stands at a similar amount. It's around the 45 mark at the moment. Can they add to it here? John Syracusa fights the good fight against Kennedy. Blair, Seedsman. Anybody can have a piece of that, even the boundary umpire. That's out on the full. Repair work goes on. And Nick Maxwell.
As a most
in the elbow.
Glancing blow. That'll probably need a stitch or a staple.
Talia. Roughhead. They're trying to wind their way around the big defensive circle. The squeeze that the Pies have put on. Liberatore.
Oh, wow.
Well, someone marked. I was going to say try marking that, and they
Got
did.
out of jail, Hutto.
Kobe Stevens does well.
But again, it was a missed kick to Liberatore that then put him under pressure because he doesn't have the option to sit and have a look.
Liam Jones wanted it in the pocket. He's going to have to climb high to take it. Brown first, then Williams got a piece of it. Dalhouse almost a throw, and that ball ricocheting everywhere in the pocket. Close to the Dogs' goal, but O'Brien there to swoop. Pendlebury didn't trust his right foot, just worked it off the outside. And Talia can line him up from here. Instead, he passed it off to Boyd. Wasn't perfect connection, but it'll do. It's a goal. And there's a couple in a row to the Dogs. The margin back to 39.
Well, at least Brendan McCartney can say, to the Bulldogs' credit, they haven't given up. They didn't turn their toes up. They've continued to work. It mightn't be pretty, but it's been at least blue collar.
And they've won their second half by, I think, they're leading it, I should say, by about 14 points. But it's the effort in the first half that he'd be disappointed with. I don't think that they had this the same attack on the ball. They were losing the contested ball in the first half, and they came off a bye, and it may be just a little bit of a reflection or byproduct of that. Down to you, David.
Just having a look at the way the game's unfolded, you can see their scores from stoppages. They've got their territory game going, outscored them heavily, the Pies. But look at the turnovers. 4 goals, 8, 12 opportunities to 7. And just watching this game, that is a staggering number given the amount of turnovers that Collingwood have been able to force.
Dane Swan found the ball somehow and got it to boot. That was even more difficult, but mission accomplished. Seedsman took the mark, and now they can run. Oxley, angular young man, kicks from the wing to half forward. Quinton Lynch's starting point was way behind Talia. He closed the gap pretty well, but Talia come away with a footy. Lower, being hounded by Heath Shaw. Side bottom comes hard at Cooney, but they've just got the answer. They've got the extra body. Have to be careful though. And he put the foot down, Johannesson, and he can go. Suddenly confronted by Dwyer. Had to restart the engine. Kick at the centre half forward. Just a fumble from Dalhouse.
It's a shame he missed that target, Hutto, because he'd done so well up until then.
Maxwell, that's a terrific kick. Crisp out for big Quinton. It took him a while to just work it through to get back to his feet. O'Brien, that was a bit of a limp handball really, and didn't help Ben Kennedy's cause too much. O'Brien tried to make up for it, but the damage was done. And off the left boot. Kick is very wide and marked by McRae.
Griffin continues to work hard.
Possession 29.
Not his best.
No, not the most memorable. Dalhouse to centre half back. Jones withstood pretty well. And Cooney deep to the one-on-one. The push, the shove, and the mark. Taken by Seedsman, and now the Pies will relish breaking to the space. They haven't enjoyed as much in this second half. Side bottom.
Still walking for the world record to be broken, Hutto. We've got 2 to get for Heath Shaw for it to be broken, 1 for it to be equalised.
Swan demanding it in the middle. O'Brien had to arch the back. And again, the defensive pressure was good. And I reckon the coach of the Pies will be quite frustrated with this.
I've got an amazing stat for you when we get a moment, Hutto.
Well, I'm looking forward to it, Jason. You built it up.
I have built it up. It's big.
McRae. Oh, look at him go. Heath Shaw. A charge down. Stevens. And lower. Good stuff again from Stringer.
That's letting the ball go, surely.
Gee, they know how to do things the hard way, the Bullies.
No prior opportunity, but...
Tackle after tackle. Pressure after pressure. It builds and builds. Swan, clever. Didn't attack it when he didn't need to. Just saw off the opponent. Now can the Pies on the counter? Can they land a blow here? It's been a while for them. Kennedy, wide off the left. Was able to draw. Dwyer to the knee. Moves. Sharp stuff into the pocket. There's a touch on the way. Cloak realises that. Wanted to give. Found an ally. It's Josh Thomas who deserves a goal. And he can punch up another one. No, it's a behind.
Well, I can tell you right now that Dane Swan sits on 35 touches.
Yes.
And Scott Pendlebury's on 31. It's the 34th time in a game that both Swan and Pendlebury have had 30-plus possessions. And of those 34 times, they've won 30 of them.
Amazing stuff, Joseph.
Or 30 of the past 33. This is the 34th, so it'll be 31 out of 34. It's not bad, is it?
Did it match the build-up, Hutto?
I think so.
Yeah, I think it did, Jason. Outstanding stuff.
It was a Jolie special.
McCaffrey to half forward. Cloak.
Gee, tackled into the ground and there was no need to. It's strange.
What do you think of Roughhead, Jason?
Oh, he's still very much on the learning curve. The ball's gone, but he's got the arm around the waist which drags him to the ground and gives away the free kick. I worry sometimes about his positioning. At different stages, he's tried to play 5 metres in front. That only works when Cloak's playing really deep, virtually in the goal square. And when you're further afield, you've got to pay much closer attention to your opponent. He gets caught ball watching a little bit, but he's good size, he's a good athlete, and he's working at it.
No interference there. It got through to Pendlebury, though. And again, this young man, Thomas, he did all the hard work and then just didn't quite have the awareness of what was around him. Dwyer, floating handball, tough for Lynch when it was given to him that high.
He ducked.
And he tunnel balls it out the back. Kobe Stevens along that last line. It is a fine line, but they get away with it.
No run further afield, nothing.
Kingy, what are your thoughts on Collingwood's second half?
Oh, look, I think the work was done early, and often this does happen in a game like this. Players just maybe drop back a little bit and don't have that ruthless nature that they had at the start of the game. They had a point to prove early on, and that was ticked. I'm sure Nathan wouldn't be too happy with the second half, but I think the signs we saw in the first half far outweigh the negatives in the second half.
Minson, Dalhouse. Smith. Now, side bottom.
Look at the numbers.
Time to design something in the kick, and it's short, but it's effective. And Kyle Martin pops up. They started the game really well, and he's going to end up with around about 20 disposals. He's got 18 to his name.
We've seen him do this a lot in his short time at senior level, Jared. The ability to push forward into space, normally about 30, 35 out directly in front. He finds little pockets of space in the corridor, and he's a proven goal kicker.
Yeah, like what I've seen this afternoon, he looks a genuine chance to play a long career for the Pies.
Finally, a Collingwood goal. And the margin creeps back to 46 points. So where does that leave Collingwood, you ask, on the ladder?
Amazing stuff, Hutto. It leaves them in 6th position. The interesting mover over the weekend was Port Adelaide, who have added about 8 or 9% to be still equal with those sides at the bottom reaches of the 8. And there's Collingwood's next 4.
So on form, you would say their biggest challenge will be Carlton in round 15. But the bye most welcome, I think. 46 points between the Dogs and the Pies now.
I think everybody welcomes the bye, but it's a major challenge to come back from the bye in the same mental state, competitive mental state.
Good for the teams that are struggling, probably, Jared, like a Port Adelaide, but when the teams are just getting going, maybe not so.
Well, I think that if you're getting going, you'd like to just keep on going, but if you've been up the top like Hawthorn have, Collingwood to a lesser extent, you'd like to just have that final break before you reset for the fair income half of the season.
Cooney. High to full forward. Oh, great mark to Brown.
A bit upset Robert Murphy with Adam Cooney. He pushed forward into space. He was looking for the little chip out. Didn't get used, and he'd run 2 or 3 times to get into space where he could be used, Bob Murphy, and just a little bit flat. It's been sort of the tail of the tape for Adam Cooney today. Hasn't used the ball well.
One item that's fallen right off the AFL's agenda, and I mean the discussion point agenda, is rotations.
Yep.
For something that's been talked about ad nauseum for about 5 years, it seems that it has almost been forgotten about.
Is it just settled into a pattern now? Is that why? Because we're not seeing...
Well, I checked a few minutes ago, and the Bulldogs were at 99 and Collingwood were 125. Now, if Andrew Demetrio has his way, it's 110 now to Western Bulldogs to 137. That'll probably end up at about 140 or 145 versus 120 odd.
Oh, what a kick.
The suggestion is the cap comes in. I mean, if you've made it to 125, it's probably not going to affect anything about the way the game's played, is it?
No, and no one's worried about what's this.
Coming back well.
And that's why he's upset that he didn't get used before. He's been finding space. He has the ability to do that, but on that occasion, he gets the job done. Bob Murphy, after a couple of ordinary kicks, the Bulldogs have missed a few targets, but they have won their share of possessions. They've had as much of the ball as Collingwood has. That was an ordinary kick from Boyd that he squared up, and then this is an ordinary kick from Morris. He misses Jan Syracuse, but a good hand pass finds Murphy, and a good finish on the run. But all of a sudden, I mean, the AFL was saying we don't like it, it looks ugly because we're seeing players coming on and off all the time. No one watches it. They're the only ones. If you're watching a game of footy, I don't watch what's happening at the bench.
I don't think it was an issue of aesthetics. I think it was more an issue of how ballistic the game was getting.
There's the next month for the Dogs. And they'll be hoping they can get a win or two in there after a couple of nice victories leading into today. Unfortunately, that's not a good exit out of the middle for them. And O'Brien can swing the handball as Collingwood player's lost his boot in the middle of the ground. Meantime, Sinclair into the 50, delicate little kick. It was good adaptation by Dwyer.
But I think at the end of the day, if you put a cap on at 125, you might as well have no cap at all.
Correct. But what if he comes in and chops him off at the knees because Demetrio was keen on saying 80 was the number? That has
an
a
80. I think it's going to make a huge difference on this impact on the way the game is played. It will force a lot of people to be resting forward, and that's happening anyway.
Yeah. There's also concern on what impact that would have on injuries.
Well, there's the ballistic injuries or the high collision injuries versus the
fatigue injuries,
and I think that's all a matter of opinion, not science.
Pendlebury still going strong. He's up to 34 disposals for the afternoon.
We brought in so many rules to speed the game up, Jared. And now we're trying to slow it down again over the journey.
I think that's the terminology is not speeding it up, but it's
making
keeping
it continuous.
And that was a big difference because, in effect, limiting rotations would be really trying to slow it down. Just not sure whether it's the right way to go because the spectacle is great because it is ballistic.
Oh, that again is an example of poor options from the Bulldogs. Trying to thread a hand pass, but there's no peripheral vision of what's coming and the impending pressure on the player that receives the footy.
Pendlebury, and there was no getting out of there cleanly for Liberatore, but he did get the ball into the open. Now Griffin marches on. Terrific build-up by the Dogs. Stevens, Johannesson didn't blast away. It was the crafted kick instead to Gian Siracusa, who can go for the vacant square. It was tempting, he took it and made the most of it. And they have finished with some style, the Dogs.
I don't think the Collingwood fans like the non-holding the ball decision back here at half-back. After Adam Cooney got the hand pass, he tried to fend off Harry O'Brien, then a second tackler comes in. You can see Nathan Buckley, are you serious, I think, with the words that he said. Once he fended off Harry O'Brien, that was prior opportunity gone, I would have thought, for Adam Cooney. But Daniel Gian Syracuse is making the most of limited opportunities since coming on as the sub. He's had 15 possessions and kicked a couple of goals, so he's been very good.
And the margin back to 35 points.
It's the John McEnroe moment for Bucks. You cannot be serious.
Unfortunately for Collingwood, he was, but it was good stuff for the Bulldogs, who have finished this game quite strongly. Been inaccurate, of course, with 8 goals, 10. Now Nathan Brown had his hands full and he threw it, I reckon. Yep, holding the ball. William Jones.
It's livened up the Magpie crowd, Hutto. It was getting pretty flat at half-time, but they feel as if they've been poorly done by the umpires in the last 10 minutes.
Well, now it's Jake Stringer, who's taken another mark.
He might as well have a ping at this one.
12 marks for the day for Stringer.
Yep.
1 goal, 1.
He's been one of their better draft picks in recent years. He looks as if he's going to be a fine player. Wouldn't be surprised if he slots as he looks pretty comfortable in front of goal.
And you know what? He has. What a great kick. Outstanding connection. Puts it through. And the margin is under 5 goals.
Well, it's a good fight back by the Western Bulldogs. We were looking for positives at half-time, as was their coach, no doubt. And that was the umpire paying the ball being just dished off, which has dragged some amusement for the coach of the Pies. Bad of all of this, this kid can kick the ball. He's a really nice shot at goal. He's proven that. He's a big body and a very accurate kick.
He's taken 5 marks inside 50, Jared. A lot of them been reasonably wide in the arc, haven't they? But
yeah, but he's a mobile forward, isn't he? He's just one of those classic modern-day centre-half forward targets, if you like. He's just a mid-sized forward who's going to get crumbs. He's going to get lead-up ball, and he'll win contested ball.
Oh, I reckon the Dogs would love another one. And the Pies equally would be determined, I think, to kick a late goal and just try and finish the game in a positive manner, because they've really let the Dogs, not so much back into the game, but certainly back into the contest as it's been played in this second half. And clearly the Bulldogs have had the advantage since half-time.
We might go down to David King and just find out if there is any further update on Ben Reid.
He doesn't look real happy down here at the moment, Jared. He looks a bit disconsolate, the young man. I think he's got some sort of leg issue. It's definitely a left leg. It may be a hamstring. I thought it was a corked buttock.
But no ice on at the present time suggests that it may not be soft tissue.
We're going to speak to Nathan Buckley post-match, so we'll get more of an idea there. They're circling again. He's got another shot for goal, and this time it's a miss for Jake Stringer.
It's a bit of an unusual one. I don't know eyes. It's going to be interesting to find out what, in fact, the ailment is.
O'Brien. No real abundance of options, so he decides to
Charge.
go it alone and charge and kick, but Minson's going to send it right back. So a minute 35 on the clock. And look at that second time in forward half since the major break. It's all the Bulldogs. Just hemmed in again there, but Talia out wide, lower. Oh, it's a late in the game, tired effort, unfortunately, from Roughhead.
Kingy, it's been interesting. It's almost proves your point. The pressure from the midfield at Collingwood has dropped off, and Heath Shaw's intercept marks have dropped off. I noticed Seedsman picked up one, but there hasn't been that many in this last 30 minutes of footy.
No, and it all complements each phase, doesn't it, too, as they go forward here.
They do, and there's a pretty simple one for Travis, who thinks about playing on, but I reckon there'd be a flashback of other players that have done it, and maybe the voice of Jason Dunstall in his head as he was thinking about whether to play on there.
Yeah. You wouldn't want that echoing around in the recesses if you're mine for too long.
No,
it was a very nice kick in as well.
Yeah, it's a very nice goal at the end of Travis Clegg, and it makes 5 for the afternoon. And a job well done. But he was threatening at one stage, wasn't he, to kick 7 or 8 goals?
Tell me this, Hutto, if you had Travis Clay playing for the Bulldogs and no genuine replacement of his calibre playing for Collingwood, what do you think the score would be right now?
Well, you're probably more qualified to answer the question than I am, so answer your own question, Jared.
Well, I was pondering that thought coming in, because to me that was always going to be the difference between the two sides. They've got this noted giant in the goal square and a guy who's basically learning the craft that was going to defend him. And his 5 goals, take that away and add it to the Western Bulldogs, and you may find the result almost reverses.
I mean, obviously you're going to have other options, and they're still winning the ball going forward. They've won the inside 50s, and they haven't played many games without Travis. He's barely missed a game. We know he missed the game in Brisbane when he was a bit crook.
It's never as simplistic as that, as you rightly point out, but you play a hell of a lot differently when you know you've got a big giant down there, and you've got the bailout kick. You've got somebody who you know is going to win contested marks.
Here's O'Brien, and you're right, it changes the way the players up the ground plays, doesn't it? And they know they've either got a hard lead like that one or the long one to the square. He might get 6 here after all. That's a good rehearsal for him, kicking after the siren. You never know in the finals. He might have to land this kick. The pressure would be different. Cloak would be coming in to win the game, and he's missed. Sorry, Travis. He had a clean sheet. In fact, it's not a score, so his sheet 5 goals, 1 looks all right.
That said, the positive for Travis today was every ball moved the same way, right to left.
So at least he knows where it's going.
If he can work on that, he's 100% better off than if it's a mystery.
Nathan didn't look completely satisfied, but he's having a bit of a smile about it now. The Dogs outscoring the Pies. In the second half, it was 53 the margin at halftime. 34 is the final difference between the two sides. 15-9, 99 to 9-11, 65.
Well, they did what they had to do.